How's it going, Yugi tubers? It's your boy Slim here, bringing you some replays from Duelist Cup. I'm trying something different here. Basically, I am going to walk you through the entire journey on how I'm trying to get to Duelist level max. Started at level 7, I believe, based on how I ranked in last season. So yeah, sit back and enjoy the replays, starting here with the easy ones. It's going to be a multiple part series, so this is just kind of the first, I think, 10 or so duels that I recorded. Yeah, so here I kind of bricked. I just broke the board and attacked with my Shadow card against Trickstar, like some kind of weird combo here. But ultimately just trying to control the board, waiting for an opportunity to actually use my breakers here or have a 1-card combo. They can't beat over anything, and I'm just reading the cards here to see if there's anything I need to be aware of. I Raigeki, kind of trying to get them to use a monster effect so I can go ahead and use Thrust, so I can set up for next turn. So then I attack again, trying to just whittle down the life points and keep them away from their link monsters. They set again, and now that I have Dispersion set thanks to Thrust, I can actually go ahead and kickstart some plays. So I get my starter, I get Neprum, but I'm actually going to use Gemini Fusion in hand because, again, I drew the brick, and now I needed to get something going. So I was able to get Neppy out of the graveyard with its own effect, and then negate using Hollow Core, and that gave me all the extra attack points I needed there to just go for game. So kind of a weird duel, but pretty straightforward. Just as a heads up, like throughout these duels, I'm gonna also be pointing out some of the things to be aware of, because I found that there's a lot of good feedback on my last Gem Knight video, and that people were really interested in like studying the deck and seeing just what it can do. So with that, I'm going to highlight things to keep in mind as you play this deck, because again, it's not a brain dead going second deck. You actually need to be very mindful of the sequencing when you play your cards. So here, for example, I'm facing Blue Eyes, and they're using kind of an interesting build here. They're not going into the typical like synchro variant. They're going with the XZ's plays here. Now they do have some Primite cards, so I know that they have Drill Beam set, and they have an Omni Negate, or yeah, kind of like a it's called a Desiree Omni Negate. So I use Forbidden Droplet to dodge the targeting, which is very important. Droplet is a very important part of this deck. Get to Neprum, use Quartz to set, and basically here this is almost game, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Because I can just go into Fusion, get another Neprum out. Now I can go into the Link. I get Dispersion. Play Brilliant Fusion. Yeah. All I'm trying to do here is set up so I can do my attack plays. Out comes Master Diamond. And yeah, I'm gonna make sure I can attack twice and do Flaming Wingman damage. Make sure I'm getting Lady Brilliant Diamond's attack power back. I'm getting out Master Dispersion. Yeah. So that's basically just GG right there. And yeah. Also, sorry for any background noise. There is a concert not far from where I live, so if you hear any of that and the sirens going out, and that's what's happening here. On to the next duel. So not a great hand exactly, because I don't have any 1-card starters yet. So I have to be hopeful that I can resolve the Fua here in order to get some extra draw power, and then in turn go ahead and get my other cards going. But I'm facing Volcanic. Oh, I remember this duel now. Yeah, another thing to be aware of. I record these, this is from a few days ago, so sometimes I have to kind of just start watching the duel again and get a refresher on what was happening. So they're going to start comboing off, and unfortunately, there's really nothing I can do because everything that they're doing is just, it's burn damage. So I think the only hope I had to stall was to make it back to my turn and then droplet their field. Here comes my draw. Let's see if I got anything that's relatively useful. But unfortunately, no, they activated a trap card, so droplet can't do anything there, and that was game. There's no real lesson to that duel. It's just kind of a it is what it is type of thing. So now we're starting this next duel. Blue eyes again. Yeah, really, but I have a solid hand because I have I have Shaddoll Fusion, and now they already have a monster out from the extra deck there. But again, what I've noticed so far in the Duelist Cup is that in the lower rankings, in the lower stages, you have people that are kind of like cooking with different strategies. In the next installment of these videos, you'll see some really interesting combos that both cooked me, frankly. But I wanted to highlight them because I thought they were interesting. So anyway, I go into the 1-card starter here thanks to Shaddoll Fusion, and now I'm just trying to build up the forces. All I'm trying to do is really play around Blue Eyes Jet, which I do then with Underworld Goddess by now removing its destruction capabilities, and I also use Underworld Goddess's negate to negate the synchro there, and that just lets me pop off. Because fortunately I had enough that I could play around other interaction. But yeah, here I'm going into the typical Master Diamond play. So there I can just do burn damage for game. And thanks to Underworld Goddess, I can negate the Jet Dragon trying to come out and protect them for one more turn. And that's game. Alright, and here we go. Not a great hand again, because once again, I really had Gem Knight Fusion glued to my hand, and that was very unfortunate because it's essentially a dead card unless I happen to have 2 Gem Knights in hand. And now I'm facing Maliss, which you really want to have strong, just the ability to just break a lot of boards when you're facing this deck if you don't have Lancia. And that's another thing I wanted to just briefly mention. I've been tinkering with the ratios with my Gem Knight deck. Basically, there's 3 flex slots for a playset of either. I've been alternating between Lancia, Phantasme, and Book of Eclipse, because there's situations that would call for any of the 3. Phantasme in this matchup against Maliss is actually pretty good, because before they put Appaloosa on the field, or even after if you want to burn some of its negates, you can use Phantasme and actually get a couple of draws and sort of start to fix your hand. Now with Book of Eclipse, what I found is that it's really useful in the Ryziel matchup because they will go into Star Liege, which will then make their monster, with the Xyz monsters, indestructible and untargetable. But when you go with Book of Eclipse, it flips them all face down, so Baguska becomes useless, and you're able to then break the board that much easier. I think there's a duel that kind of exemplifies just the situation that would be good in. I think it's in the next series, so stay tuned. Now here I'm trying to play around the Omni Negate that they have on the field with Allied Talker. So I use Gem Knight Fusion, and then I use Forbidden Droplet to just give me some protection there. And then I know I have a 1-card starter, but unfortunately they have Ash, and they still have, well actually wait. Yeah, they're probably going to be able to interrupt my play there, but I have some moves here. Yeah, they banish the Rose Diamond. And basically what I'm hoping for is that they have no way to out the Brilliant Fusion that I'm going to try to get with the Quartz effect. But I do suspect that they will be able to. Yeah, that was it. This is GG's right here because they impulsed my Quartz effect. So that's just tough, unfortunately. If you don't open with enough against the Maliss deck, or if you don't have Lancia, then you're pretty much cooked. later on, like the current build I'm running is on is with 3 Lancia because I was getting beaten too much by the Maliss matchup. Now here I'm made to go first actually, and it's an uncomfortable position because I don't really have the moves to go first here. I didn't want to run the Protoss package with Nemesis Flag and Protoss obviously. So what I'm trying to do, and I actually screw up, is because to make this combo really live, you would probably need to go into IP Masquerena and then go ahead and go into Master Dispersion. That way you can have bodies on the field to go into either Underworld Goddess or SP, and then also combine it with the bounce of Aquamarine. But this one ends up being a victory because they just scoop. It's Tenpai. So when they try to go into the effect to get the field spell, I just hollow cord and negated. And because of all the hits the Tenpai, that's really all it took, because they just didn't draw into anything else to kickstart that engine, which was good for me. So this one was fun. This is against Fiendsmith. Now I'm fully aware that that Fiendsmith can be paired with a lot of different things, so I'm trying to just be very economical with how I use. Here you can see I'm on the Phantasme build in these in this set of duels. So I was able to just get a free draw, because when they chained Requiem, the way that Phantasme works is that you draw based on the amount of links +1. So I drew 1, and then I didn't have to shuffle any back into my deck, which is great. The cool part about Phantasme that's actually really good too in the Fiendsmith matchup is that if they target anything, you can discard target monsters, excuse me. If they target any of your monsters, you can discard a card and then destroy. So negate the activation, or is it the effect? Well, you get a negate, and then you also can pop the monster, which is really useful. Sorry, pop the card. So yeah, very powerful. But they're using Morphtronic Fiendsmith, which is really interesting because now what they were able to do is just generate a lot of bodies and set up a pretty strong board. You have triple negate Appaloosa. I use Sales Band to try and cut into this a little bit. Now they negated my Nebrum, so I'm gonna just go ahead and try to get into Brilliant Fusion. Go into Master Dispersion. Nebrum comes back. Now they do SP, but that's pointless because I can just dodge it by using its effect to get my monsters out. I get Hollow Core on the field. Now I can't link anymore because I use Master Dispersion's effect, but that's okay because I can still get Gem Knight Fusion back to do this, which is go into Master Diamond. Now unfortunately, I made a mistake here. I didn't calculate that when you try to use the Flame Wingman effect on Appaloosa, Appaloosa doesn't have any original attack points. So doing that was kind of useless, and then I leave them with 350 life points left, which ordinarily could be a big problem. But I don't think that they were able to generate anything else off of this, because yeah, now they try to go into Dragoon, I negate, but then they negate the negate, which is rough. So now out comes Dragoon. They pop, double pop actually, and then double Flame Wingman, and unfortunately I can't stop that. So yeah, and then they just do lethal. So yeah, unfortunately that's another thing to be aware of when you play Gem Knights. Always make sure that you're fully aware of like how much damage you're doing, because if you give them any opportunity like that, they will cook you. Here I'm facing a deck that is using the Millennium engine. They go into SP. I'm bringing out my Phantasme. I drew into 2 other Phantasme that I had to shuffle back, but they end up scooping. So I guess they just didn't have anything they needed there. This is actually a really good hand because, again, I have draw power with Fua and with Phantasme, but as you see, they are playing Voiceless Voice, which makes Fua basically useless. unless because they're not going to run anything from the extra deck. They're going to just get low, get Skull Guardian, and get their negates. This is actually, it might have been power crept, but it is still a very strong control deck that can do a lot to interrupt your board. And when you're going second, you're not usually playing a lot of hand traps, and so I'm going to be tasked with just finding ways to break through this board and do lethal damage. And then that's the other thing, Shaddoll Fusion becomes a brick now because they don't have anything from the extra deck on the field. They don't negate my Neprum, so I do get a search. I think they sensed that I was trying to bait them, but now I am going to Forbidden Droplet some of their plays here. I use my talents to get 2 draws, and I get basically exactly what I needed. I get the ability to just Branded Fusion from the deck now. Get my monsters out. I can go into a link play. I negate the negate of my summon, which gives me some added attack power there. You'll notice that Phantom Quartz does not get the boost because he had not officially finished being summoned yet. But that's all good. I use Brilliant Fusion, and then I use Quartz's effect. Now I go into the regular plays. Tribute 1, out comes Master Diamond, bounce. Now here's where I messed up. I should have bounced the other spell because the other spell gives Sarvaris, I'm not sure what it's called, that battle protection that doesn't let me OTK right here. And yeah, I thought maybe it was once per turn. I just tried to generate something here. So that's rough because I obviously cannot break through that. If that card were not on the field and if I'd left the other one, I would have been able to break through. So now I have to hope that they don't have enough to overpower my board. So I try 1 negate, beef up my monsters in the process too. You can see they're all pretty big there. That's 3 of them that are over 4k, 2 that are over 3k, and 1 that's solid with 24/5. But now they're just generating all kinds of advantage here because they're rebuilding their entire board. But as you can see, they only have 2 monsters that can do damage to me, which is great. So I'm gonna be able to survive here. I beta negate there for, frankly, like shits and giggles. But yeah, not much they can do. They go into Dynamundo to bounce, or to spin, I guess technically. And they go into Typhon. Now, fortunately, even though that does pose a problem, I have enough that I can just attack into SP and that's game. Yeah, and they scoop too because I think they knew I was just going to be able to do battle damage there. Alright, so wrapping up here with the last duel. They pass, and because this is going to be a quick replay, the only thing you need to know is that they're going to double fool me, and at this point, because they have no other protection, I'm just going to kind of try to rush through for game after setting up the Hollow Core Engrave to protect against Nibiru. I hope you found these replays useful though, informative, and just kind of seeing what the deck can do. Again, you're gonna see losses here because I think the point that I want to make is just help people learn from the mistakes I've made in using this deck. So again, sequencing is something that matters a lot when you're playing Gem Knights. Make sure that you're taking out the things that can interrupt you, and always calculate the damage correctly. In my opinion, like, you really don't have to worry so much about clock management here because you're trying to OTK. So make sure you just take the time to think your plays through and then go for it. Last thing is, I'm just going to show you all the deck list. I made it to stage 10 here, so halfway home. Standard list. The only thing is that I don't run Meowls or Perulia, kind of because I'm going with what I would have in TCG. But yeah, you know the drill, folks. Like and subscribe, leave some comments, would love to hear feedback, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the replays. Take care.